got some more gas. Ethanol content is like 70%, 69.9%. So not sure what the new stuff is going to be, but that's what was in there. But I was down to about a quarter tank. So what I'm going to do differently for today at the track is I'm going to try to put less gas in the truck. I'm usually running the truck with like a completely full tank. I'm going to try to run it down like below half a tank or maybe even a quarter to try to take a little bit of weight out of it. And I'm going to try shifting earlier. That's why I'm using my shift points, or trying to change my shift point. So I was shifting at like 68, 6900. And I'm thinking that I'm just way too far out of the power band that I'm not able to pick up anything. So, or it's just not going as fast as it could be. So I'm going to try shifting it at like 60, like maybe 63 to 6500. I got it set at 6500 right now, so I'm going to start there and just see if it picks up anything. It makes sense if I move that shift range, it's going to pick up some torque. So, because I'm pretty sure it's fallen off pretty hard. I don't have a dyno graph of this truck, but looking at some other dyno graphs of similar setups, 6-liter, 78, 75 turbo setups, you start to fall off pretty hard over 6500 is what I'm seeing. So just going to try it. It's not going to hurt anything. If I lose, I'll go back to where it was. Yeah. Alright, so I'm on my way to the track now. Run everything along, got the cameras, charged the cameras, I got an SD card, charged the computer, charged my phone, charged the battery for the impact. Alright guys, I'm going to go up in a little bit here. Try to make it quick because it's pretty hot, especially in the suit and a helmet. So it's like, I think it's like 80 something ish right now, maybe more, I'd have to check. But I'm gonna go up. Only thing I changed was the shift points. Shifting it right around 6500 now instead of 6900. And because I did adjust the fuel pressure regulator, it did lean the tune out a little bit. So it went from like a 10.7 to probably like an 11.2, 11.5-ish. So I'm just gonna run it, not make any fuel change, and see where it's at. It's on about 17 pounds and 14.5 degrees. So 15 degrees, 15, 14.5. So let's do that. Brian's car here. This is the guy I got the intake from the other day. Volvo. Looks like he had a problem. He's not around the car right now, but doesn't look good. So I'm recording this later, and I'm adding it in now because it's an amazing story, and we have to talk about it. So I got to the track. I saw where Brian was parked with his Volvo, and I got out and I was just kind of dinking around by the truck, and I looked on Facebook, and he made a post saying he needed a trailer, somebody with a trailer ASAP to come pick him up. Like, well, what the hell happened? So I went over to go talk to him, and he wasn't there, but the car was there. So I looked at the car, and obviously what I showed you guys, there was transmission fluid all over the ground. So I'm not sure if he wants me to tell people this, but it was kind of knowledge at the track. And it's a success story. I feel like it needs to be talked about because it's a great story. So he ended up making a mistake. It wasn't like a drag racing mistake. It was just something was left underneath the car. So he ended up unloading all of his stuff and had the stuff sitting out, and the jack ended up being, he had like a scissors jack, ended up being left kind of out in front of the car. And he went to go make a pass, didn't see it there, drove over it, and it like tipped up and poked a hole in the bottom of the transmission. So poked a hole in the transmission pan, and when I got there, he wasn't there because he was going to get new transmission fluid, and he had some friends that were bringing him a transmission pan. So when I went over, probably a half hour, maybe 40 minutes later, he had the car jacked up, and they had already swapped the pan out, and he was putting new fluid in it. And then he gets done dumping the fluid in it, goes and puts the bottle down, takes the car, jacks it back up, takes the jack stands out, jacks it back down, and then goes and gets in the car and drives away. And then he ended up running a 9-second pass today. So that's what I'm saying. It's kind of a silly thing that happened, but it's an amazing story. I think it's really cool. Alright guys, made a pass, felt like garbage, so came back and got some food and decided to kind of look through the scan, and I thought I knew what I wanted to do, but during my burger I looked at the scan again and saw that my intake temp was at 205. So there it is, that's at the end of the pass, and that was about at the 8th, so just past the 8th. It was already at 205. So started looking into that a little bit and just kind of started checking everything, checking relays, checking the switch to make sure the switch worked, everything else all checked out. So what I did was I just jumped power directly to the methanol pump using this jumper cable, and you can see it spark. And then if I hold my finger on there for about this long, it starts to get really, really hot. So it's definitely like shorted out, and the methanol pump doesn't work. Everything else checks out, relay, switch, everything's good, but the pump doesn't frickin' work. Alright guys, so my methanol injection pump is bad, I guess. Apparently it's not working. I put direct power right to the pump, it's not working. So it definitely leaned out. I just checked a spark plug, number 5, and it looked fine. So I'm gonna try it again, but it is driving a little goofy, like it's almost driving like it has a miss, kinda. I don't know. I'm gonna kind of just drive it up and feel it out and see how the burnout feels. If it feels weird, I'll just drive down the track and then probably head home. So we'll see what it does. It doesn't owe me anything, I guess, if it breaks. So I'm gonna see probably over 200-degree intake temps, but it's like 70% ethanol, so I'm not terribly worried about it, but that would make sense why it was down on power and it was very lean. So we'll see. Maybe it hurt something. Then everybody then the theory about the methanol injection system being just another component that can cause a failure is absolutely true in my case. I'm not trying to bash the system or say anything bad about it. It worked really good for me for a long time, and a lot of people have really good luck with this stuff, so I just don't have very good luck, period. apparently. So we'll get it figured out someday, though. Maybe we'll make an entertaining, smoky video for you guys. Broken parts. So I didn't really talk about what I did, but I changed the shift points back, and I looked at the scan, and actually, I think I said that before, I left in second gear. So I turned my ADE into a power glide there for that pass, and it didn't work in my favor. So air-fuel ratio did look good. I did add another probably 3-4%. And I changed the shift points back to where I originally had it, because what I was trying to do was just do RPM-based shifting. So I zeroed out all of the speed parameters and just entered the shift points that I wanted. That didn't work. I don't really have time, so I just put my old settings back in there, and then I took like 200 RPM off of it and like 3 or 4 mile an hour from each of the shift points. So it should shift earlier, but I'm kind of using my old settings. So basically right now what I'm trying to do is just get it back to like an 11.1 or 11.3-ish to see, because the pass was so bad before, 12.1, and not having a good day. So right now I'm just trying to get it back to, try to get back what I had.
For him, like, it might not look crazy good, but it goes like a bastard.
Yeah, it's actually down a little bit today. I had my methanol injection pump failed on me, so I'm just trying to correct it with fuel now. It was doing 11.1 last week, a couple weeks ago. It was like a 12.1 today, so
that's awesome. That's
trying to get it to a 10.
Cool.
Thanks. The people like it. I'd say that actually happens probably 3-4 times a day when I'm here. Like I'll go make a pass, and then usually each pass I make, there's like a group of people that come over and find the truck and then ask me what's in it, because it's kind of deceiving and there's a lot of new people here every time. So some people are familiar with it by now, but to a lot of people it's still new, and it's always kind of surprising to them. So especially when they have the clocks on. They don't have the clocks on today, so you can't see times or mile an hour or anything, but especially when they have it on and then it does like 11.1 or 11.3, people usually get pretty excited about it. So it's always kind of cool to see people come over and smile at it, I guess. And it is 9:45 p.m. right now, so this will be the last pass. They close at 10, which it would have been my last anyways, so we'll do our best. for a second and then reel them in, but you got to see my slow moving vehicle sign. So back from the track, it was 11:01, 100 to the eighth in a 165 60 foot. So not the best 60 foot, but pretty close. It was like a 164, I think was my best. I've never gone 100 to the eighth, and it was 11:01 at 124. So not fastest mile an hour, but fastest ET so far with the truck. So I really struggled today. Well, I mean, I felt like I kind of struggled compared to other days. Everything felt really good on the way there, and maybe that's why I was a little disappointed earlier. And I had issues today because I felt good going into today. So that's just how it works. You feel good about it, and it's not going to go well. So it seems like the days that I go there and I'm like really feeling like a bag of shit and I don't even want to be there, those are the days that I end up doing okay. You know, like last time I made 7 passes, everything was fine, but when I was on my way there, I was feeling kind of like I don't even want to go there. So opposite happened today. I felt good, and then it slapped me in the face as soon as I got there. My methanol injection pump failed. This isn't working. Tested it, not working. And I usually don't watch the wideband very much. I'm trying to get better at watching the wideband. I usually just trust what's happening, and then I look at the scan later just to verify everything. But trying to get better at watching the wideband just in case there's anything that obvious that jumps out. And this time it was like a 12.5 when I looked at it, and the truck felt bad. It didn't feel good, and I saw the 12.5, so lifted. I did like 89 to the eighth or something, just ridiculous. Not that good. So the feeling that I felt was confirmed by the wideband, and I knew there was a problem, stopped it, and I didn't think it was the methanol injection until I decided to look at my intake temp. And I probably wouldn't have done that unless I got a water and a burger and sat down to eat and look at the scan. So doing that, I feel like made me look at the temperature, because I probably would have just thought it was a fuel issue and then added fuel. But it was so lean because the pump wasn't working. So whatever, got all that figured out. I added like another 8% of fuel just to compensate for the methanol not being there. So added, I think it was like 6 or 8% back in, and took another pass, did another pass, whatever you want to call it. I saw 11.5 when I was looking at it, so just stayed in it, but it was still a 12.1. Pass was a 12.1, and it was a 1.860 foot, and I realized that it left in second gear. After the pass, I started looking at the scan, and it showed that I left in second gear. So, like I said before, I was trying to only use like RPM based, so I got to figure out exactly what I want to do with that. Because right now my mile per hour shift points don't really line up with my RPM shift points. So I'm using those to compensate and adjust the shift points, but it's not really accurate to where it's shifting, and it's kind of doesn't really work sometimes exactly what I want it to do. So I want to just find a method to be able to get it to shift exactly where I want it. I want to try shifting at 6,500 and see what happens. It did 1101, shifting at 69 and 68. 1 to 2, 2 to 3. So still okay, but I feel like there's more to gain shifting a little bit earlier, or at least I want to prove it or disprove it. So gonna take a little break from the truck, even though I didn't touch the truck for a while. Gonna take a break from it until the next track day probably. And then we're gonna prioritize this thing, which is what I've been doing. So basically got it running the other day, and I just got to finish up welding on the radiator. So you guys probably know the water net comes over here, and I'm going to cut it and weld it on over here so it can go straight into the water pump. Just got to finish modifying that, find a hose that's going to work, because I got to figure out how I'm going to do, you know, this hose down to the radiator, which I might even end up cutting the bottom of the radiator and moving it over here, doing something like that. So we'll see how that goes, but this thing is running. I do have to put the shifter in and remove the factory exhaust. So that's pretty much where I'm at with that. So I will put some power steering fluid in there and get the exhaust off. I do have to do the wastegate boost reference lines, but that's kind of low priority right now because I'm just trying to get it running and not in boost yet. Fill the clutch. I got to fill and bleed the clutch. Radiator, I probably will drive it without a bumper for a little while. And I think that's about it. So I'm not really going to prioritize the air conditioning stuff right now. I want to get it, I mean, unless I have some spare time to make the extra line and stuff like that. I just want to get it running and driving decent, and then we can worry about the air conditioning stuff at a later date. So one other concern that I have, and you can see that I put this gauge on there. So I did have this actually in the truck, or in the car before. It's just a -10 to a -10 adapter with a 1/8 inch NPT, and I'm just using a mechanical gauge there because when I started it and ran it and it revved and whatever, I didn't see any oil pressure on the gauge in the car. So I hooked this thing up and it's showing like 4 bar at idle. So it's actually pretty decent. And I think I actually have a couple clips of it revving, and it was up to like 6 bar. So it has oil pressure. Everything's working pretty decent there, but it's just not showing on the gauge. So I don't know if it's my sending unit that I got or something with the harness or the gauge. I know that gauge works because I did use it before when I wired up the different sending unit. So maybe it was that. Maybe it's the sending unit because it was a $9 sending unit instead of the $40, $50 AC Delco or whatever brand it is. Anyways, I'm done rambling. I'm gonna get in, go to bed, eat some food. It's like midnight right now. And thanks for watching. Have a good one.